So let's continue then our coverage of the late Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa's passing and preparations for his burial. Let's speak to Professor Siphiwo Mahala, a colleague and friend of the late former minister, as well as cultural expert Khaya Ndwandwe, who joins me in studio. Prof, let me start with you online and virtually. Just talk to me. I do remember and recall that time when you were, you are someone in the creative spaces, quite involved in the creative spaces, in the literary spaces as well. So therefore, it was only natural that your paths would interact. But for me to describe you as a friend of the former late minister, it suggests a relationship that then grew and became deeper and deeper. Share with me the relationship that you shared with him.
Thank you, Tulasizwe. Actually, I worked with Nathi Mthethwa as my minister in the Department of Arts and Culture for only 2 years, between 2014 and 2016. However, our relationship, as you have noted, continued beyond that. Quite interestingly, one of the very first projects we embarked upon was the repatriation. I was busy with that project. And it's a project that he embraced and took it to levels that I did not envisage before, because at the return of cultural icons became one of the priorities, because it was quite common to repatriate the remains of politicians and all such things. So cultural icons became part of the national agenda. I guess that is part of the reason why today we witness the repatriation of Todd Matshikiza's remains, who was Nagasa's colleague, Drama Magazine in the 1950s.
Yeah. Professor Siphiwo Mahala, I'm going to ask the team to sort out something about your audio. We'll come back to you in a moment, but let's bring back the conversation in studio. And thank you for joining me this afternoon. Let's talk rituals and cultures and customs. This is a man who had a role to play in his family, but in society at large. Passed on in a foreign land under circumstances that are being investigated at the moment, but certainly not appearing to be natural circumstances. What factors come into play as far as cultures, customs, and traditions go in preparing for that burial?
Thank you very much for having me, Mr. Smelane. Firstly, condolences to the family and the people of South Africa, especially the friend of Mr. Mthethwa. So, as we see that Mthethwa is coming from a royal family, so now there is some rituals to be practiced. Firstly, when they went overseas to fetch his body, they went with two men who are so important. One, they used to call him a leaf man. They used to carry Islahla Sompafa to go to his last place, where they will ask according to their belief, because they are so traditional, so they do believe in ancestors. So they went there, Mr. Smelane, to fetch his soul to the scene. Yeah. So they carry this Ihlahla Sompafa. There is a man who is appointed by the elders, who is responsible for this, for the whole thing. So when they came to the scene, I do believe that he speak because firstly they must report to the elders at home that no, the younger one is no more here, is already passed away. Now they are going to overseas to fetch his body. So we strongly believe that his soul is there. Yeah. So now they went there with the Ihlahla Sompafa to ask him to come back to to his country. I think they follow all the channel and people of the country. They were there, the government was there, pastors was there, but two people are playing a big role, these two elders of Mthethwa. Once that one finish speaking to his soul and the elders and reporting that no, now we are here where the soul of the body of your son was laid. So now we are asking you to help us, to help this guy to come back with us. As we did see, everything is followed. Now it's on the mortuary. I think today afternoon, they went there again to fetch his body at the mortuary. Before they enter the home, they must remain outside. Maybe they'll build a small structure there because he was died accidentally. We have got two types of this suicide. It may be if you hang yourself, according to the Zulu culture. Yeah. They used to practice some other thing. They say because you did something wrong, they must do something to show that the thing that you are doing is against the
disapproval
family. Disapproval, yes. So because Mr. Mthethwa died like this, what they will do, they'll have two sheep. One is black, one is white, according to the culture.
Yeah.
Because now he was died accidentally like this. They used to say if they didn't purify his body, he will bring what we call umkoka.
Yes.
So now they must close this umkoka.
Umkoka being a curse.
A curse, yes.
Bringing it within the lineage.
Yes,
in the family,
yes.
yeah.
So now they have to stop that thing, umkoka. So they'll slaughter the first black sheep with some lazy that was mixed there.
Yeah.
They'll take some parts of this black sheep and spread it to the body so that he won't happen again. The other sheep is that one that will lead him to go inside, because before, if you die like this, you are thrown to the water, you are not allowed to go to the house. You know, a culture keep on rotating now and again.
Yes.
So now they come with that thing that now, no, we must bring another sheep to purify you.
Yeah.
And that sheep will, no one will eat that sheep. It will be burned and dig outside.
Okay.
Thereafter, the elders, they will report to everyone there, to the ancestors, that no, now Mr. Mthethwa is no more injured like this. This is a sheep that used to close amanxeba now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now is a pure Nathi Mthethwa that you know, please, the elders accept your son.
Yeah.
So thereafter they will go inside.
How important, and I'll go to Professor Siphiwo Mahala in a moment, but I think you're making some pretty important observations from a cultural perspective. It's deeply spiritual, isn't it?
Yes.
What are the consequences of not following all of those customs and traditions? What is the belief around what consequences would have followed if those are not followed?
We have got two types of religion. Christianity and cultures. So Christianity, according to the Christian, if you are born again, nothing will happen, because your belief will fight for you. But if, as we see that they are doing everything cultural, once they didn't practice that thing, something will happen again to the family, maybe after a few generations. So now that's why they must go to follow that step to stop that case. So if they did nothing, something will happen according to their belief. Yes.
What does all of this tell us, Mr. Ndwandwe, about how our cultures and traditions grapple with the idea of death by suicide? Just as a concept. I understand everything you are saying about the rituals that need to be undertaken, but what does it say about the spiritual elements of death by suicide and how, as a society, Africans grapple with that idea, that whole concept?
Yeah, it goes in two categories. Maybe they might say there is what we call ukthakatwa. So maybe something that push you to do that thing. Sometimes they can say the elders are angry. So it
either witchcraft or it's the wrath of the ancestors.
Yes, it goes to that two things now. So now, according to their belief, they'll go somewhere to find out what is the source of this thing. If maybe something was happening around the ancestors of the family, they will do what we call ukshweleza for what is happening. Maybe they are crying for something. They say, no, because you are ignoring us. Let us do this so that you can pay attention to us. They will follow some protocols there behind the scene so that this thing won't happen again.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as far as you understand, this would be important given the family that the late ambassador comes from.
Yes.
The Mthethwa family. These rituals would be critical, would be important, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's very, very important to the family. That's why some other things, it won't be on the public domain. So they'll do it privately because they know how important it is. As you know that Mr. Mthethwa is coming from a royal family, not just an ordinary person like me. He's coming from a royal family. Besides being from ambassador for the government and holding the different position, is not, as Mr. Ntombela did say, he was not about himself, but he was saving the country. But it is so important to the family to follow all that protocol. As you see that there is a layman there, they are going to practice their ritual, but the first ritual that must be practiced is that one for the family, and the pastor will take over. I think even the ANC too will come back and practice their own stuff.
In a moment I'll come back to you. We'll talk about fusing in the cultural familial elements with the stately elements that
Yes.
come with an official funeral. But I do want to bring in Professor Siphiwo Mahala. I believe we've got your lines sorted out there, Prof. Pick up where you left off. You were telling us about having worked with the late Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa when he was minister over a period of at least 2 years, you say. But your relationship actually grew deeper. You were reflecting on one of the legacy projects that he led, the repatriation of cultural icons, their mortal remains. You were saying how important that was. And I take it you are juxtaposing with what we've always had in this country, where former freedom fighters and political leaders who died in exile tended to be among those that dominated in terms of repatriations. Why was it important that there's a pivot and a determined shift to saying we will now prioritize repatriating cultural icons who died in exile?
I think today's event, which I referred to the repatriation of Todd Matshikiza's remains, signals the commitment that Nathi Mthethwa made as a Minister of Arts and Culture to give due recognition to our cultural icons beyond the politicians in terms of bringing them back and ensuring that they are part of our cultural heritage. So what this means is that if a young journalist didn't know about the history of journalism in South Africa, today they will know about Nat Nakasa, they will know about Ken Temba, and they will know about the contribution that they made in the liberation struggle, and especially in terms of mobilizing international community. As you know, that these are people who left the country quite early, but continue fighting from abroad. So it is quite coincidental that one of the first projects that I worked on with Mr. Nathi Mthethwa was the repatriation of Nat Nakasa in 2014. And of course, in 2017, he presided over the reburial of Ken Temba, who was then placed fittingly in the Heroes' Acre. And today, as you can see, that we have Todd Matshikiza, who's also from that same generation of drum, of the 1950s drum. And all these icons played a very important role in the society that we have today.
Yeah. And Prof, let me stick with you for a moment. Talk to me about the legacy that he leaves behind. You've talked about that particular element, but also talk to me about when you heard the news that he has passed on. I think the consistent theme that I've heard from people who knew him is just incredulity, not just the disbelief of it all. And also talking about the kind of person that he was and trying to align that with the reality that has occurred now. How did you grapple with that?
Well, it's still difficult to come to terms with it. Yesterday, I attended the memorial service, and almost everyone is in disbelief. And I think the reason for that is knowing that someone like Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa still had a lot to contribute in our democracy. Working with him in the Department of Arts and Culture and years beyond, I know that he believed in development. He was often disappointed when certain projects failed. So on the one hand, he recognized icons like the Nat Nakasas of this world. He recognized legends in the arts industry. Hence, he established the project that we called the Living Legends Legacy Project. But beyond that, when we brought back Nakasa home, his question was, what are we doing for the youth? And then we organized debate competitions, we organized essay competitions around the topic of the repatriation of Nat Nakasa. And what these competitions did, they were not just giving rewards to the young people who were participating, but in the form of money. But further to that, he made a point that working with SANEF, of course, we made a point that these young people win internships to go and work in companies of their choice that are part of SANEF. So in that way, he managed to kickstart the careers of many young people. And this is the vision that he had, that much as we always have to honor our icons, we must also have a strong developmental trust all the time.
Yeah. Mr. Ndwandwe, let me wrap it up with you. So naturally, the stately elements will fuse in with the cultural and familial elements. Usually, as you were saying, some of the rituals will take place, you know, behind closed doors. We won't be exposed to that. But just talk to me about that. How difficult is it? Or have we managed to fuse in the stately elements with the cultural elements almost seamlessly?
Yes, Mr. Melane, now it's very, very easy. As you see, that ANC is leading by the elders, like people like Babu Mabuya Kulu, Babu Jeff Hatebe, who understand the culture so easily. So it won't be a problem because they'll do their thing accordingly. They'll give each other a certain time to do their thing. I do believe that most of the thing will be done today and tomorrow morning before they took out the body to the place where they are going to conduct the service. So it's very, very easy now. So because it's not a new thing, you know that as the professor said that he was leading some other thing at arts and culture.
Yeah.
So we do understand that the NC did appoint the right people like Babu Mabuya Kulu and Jeff Hatebe, who understand even the culture of the place. You know that Babu Mabuya Kulu is from Empangeni too. He know everything. That there is nothing that they are going to introduce. It will be easy to share the ground and the common ideas between the ANC. They know that now it's a role of the family. Now it's a role of the ANC. There will be no friction among these two people.
All right, I've got to thank both of you for having shared your insights with me this afternoon. That's Khaya Ndwandwe, a cultural expert, and we were of course joined by former colleague and friend Professor Siphiwo Mahala, reflecting on the life and legacy of the late Ambassador to France.